Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode, we are back with possibly one of the biggest games in our season so far against Barcelona in the Champions League first knockout round, the first leg, of course. So, as you can tell, we're doing quite well. We're in 5th with 13 games to go. I think that's about right. Plenty of time to still climb up the table. We are just 6 points away from Lazio, who are in 3rd. We can still get into the Champions League by getting into 3rd. Inter and Juventus might be too far ahead for us, but we can certainly compete with Roma and Lazio for a Champions League position, and that will definitely save our job and give us some money, I guess. We're also just on 12 million in our overall balance. As I mentioned in the very beginning of this save, the Italian league doesn't necessarily have too much money. Possibly only Juventus make money, and they don't even make that much money either. So we will have to rely on our youth as well as make smart investments, because we just have 12 million on the bank, and even if we went all the way to our maximum transfer budget of 21 million, not only does it reduce our wage budget hugely, but it also means that we were spending money we don't have 21 million. It's the budget that the board set, but in truth we don't have 21 million in the bank. So if I spent that money, finances are down straight away. So yeah, we kind of have to deal with these things, but that's for next season to worry about. For this season, we have to try and survive in our job and try and get into the Champions Leagues as well, of course. So yeah, that's the competition we're working on today. In terms of what happened since that last episode, if the game will load. Right. Yeah, so we did show you the Bologna game 3-1 result. After that, we did manage to beat Roma 3-2 as well, which is huge result, to be honest. Roma were pulling out all the stops, all their tricks, all their cards, really. They tried different formations, they tried to go all out attacking, they tried all this sort of business, but we still managed to come out on top thanks to a Milik double as well as a Hamsik goal in the 43rd minute. Roma scored in the 4th minute, and I thought that's it, but they're going to go on and destroy us. But we managed to come back and win and get through to the Italian Cup semi-final, which is going to be against Inter over 2 legs. Kind of weirdly spaced apart, to be honest. They're a month apart, but either way, we'll be playing that, and that'll be interesting to see whether we can get into the final, win that. It automatically qualifies us for the Europa League. It's obviously not our aim, but it'll just be nice to add some silverware to our trophy cabinet, I suppose. Against Torino, though, disappointing 0-0 draw, but that's going to happen. It doesn't mean because we're working with a new tactic that every time we play a game we're going to win. And they played eventually, just switched into a defensive type of thing, and we couldn't beat them. Against Cagliari is the opposite. They opened the scoring in the 10th minute, but Pavlotti had different plans, and we managed to come back and score in the 92nd minute to give us the win and all 3 points against a tough Cagliari team, to be honest. Fiorentina, another team that are pretty strong in truth. And despite that, we managed to draw 2-2. I think we should have really been winning this game, and we did open the scoring in the 17th minute, but they hit back with Klanic and Sebastian in the 37th minute, and if it wasn't for a Milik penalty in the 88th minute, we might actually have lost all 3 points. But it's a fairly respectable draw. I think you could say the same against Torino, but our problem is in this season's Serie A is actually the draw. So our losses are quite similar to everyone else, really, even Inter, but our draws are the ones that are costing us. If we had 7 less draws and 7 more wins, we would be where Inter are. So losses aren't that bad. Obviously, it's bad in comparison to Juventus, but yeah, even they've had a number of draws. So we need to start trying to turn draws into wins. We have just as many draws as wins. That kind of tells you where the level is at, really. So hopefully we can turn that around, really, in the last 13 games. But for now, our worry is in the Champions League, and hopefully if we put in a good performance at home to Barcelona, I'd love a clean sheet, but I don't expect it with the players we have. So hopefully we can improve on that front. But this is the team we're going with, a full strength squad, I guess. Just missing is Lorenzo Insigne. I still don't know how to say his name, but we're just going to call him Lorenzo. The Italian international, of course, valued at £24 million. But yeah, huge player, huge miss. He's still, though, only just a backup to Mertens, and that's just how tough the competition is at the left wing spot. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's been going on. I think this is the team we'll be going with today. Normally, We'll have a look at the squad a little bit more later on. Normally we have our backup goalkeeper for cup competition games. I just like to give him game times there so they don't complain. And normally I like to have a backup goalkeeper who has a bunch of potential, and that way you can give him some decent game time, and you know, he can improve. But for me, my focus is always on the league, and not on other places. Just a minute, I think there's an technical issue. We'll be back in just a second. And we're back. Sorry about the technical issues. You know, usual old laptop problems. But anyways, as you'd expect, Barcelona favourites for today's game. And in terms of the team, like I mentioned, goalkeeper will be Pepe Reina. Instead, I accidentally played Rafael in one of the league games. So to make up for the difference in, you know, for a game that Reina should be playing in, we'll be playing him instead for Barcelona. Of course, it's a big game as well, so kind of it's a good thing that I did make that mistake, so that way we have our first choice goalkeeper in a huge game. Albiol and Koulibaly are kind of the straightforward centre-back pairing. Rolam, of course, is a first-team player as well. Maggio is the only backup player who's playing, and that's on the back of a poor El Sayed performance against Fiorentina. He had a horrible game, and that's kind of why they managed to score 2 goals. Alan and Zielinski are kind of our first-choice pairing as well, so we've got kind of a full-strength squad in truth. Milik, Hamsik, Mertens and Callejon also. The only player who shouldn't really be on the pitch is Maggio, and hopefully he can prove his worth today in what is definitely a huge game. Barcelona playing with the usual 4-3-3. As expected, Piqué, Umtiti paired, Matteo and Roberto as well, Mascherano, Iniesta, Rakitic, Neymar, Suarez and Messi, as well as Ter Stegen, and that's kind of a full-strength squad as well. They're not messing about here. They don't think they can beat us easily. They do have a couple of injured players though in their squad, so hopefully we can take advantage of that and expose maybe that specifically that right-hand flank of theirs, which is on our left, which is us, you know, our stronger flank. But yeah, I mean, you know, we're not favourites. I'm hoping to just get any type of result and keep a clean sheet, and maybe when we're away from home we can get, you know, nick a goal or something. But against Barcelona, even if you beat them at your stadium, you always have to be careful at theirs. So I think we'll just go with the, you know, we can't expect too much from them. I think if we just tell them we've been on a good run, try and keep it up, try and impress me by putting in a decent performance, and then hopefully we'll be okay. We're being a bit adventurous. I'm still testing out this tactic to see how we'll do against top sides. So we are playing a very attacking 4-2-3-1 formation with very attacking tactics as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we hold up against Barcelona. Hopefully we don't concede like 5 goals. But I'm just testing it out to see, you know, if we do perform poorly against bigger sides using the same tactic, then that would mean I do need to create a tactic that works against bigger size, you know, countering tactic, for example. But yeah, I mean, against Barcelona, these are the type of games where you get to measure yourself or measure your team and see how they perform. There is a lot of, like I think I mentioned this last episode, but there is a lot of dead weight in our squad, and we'll definitely need to turn that around if we want to improve. And yes, it's through though, and thankfully he misses their first clear-cut chance of the game. Rakitic found them really well, and hopefully that injury that Iniesta's feeling was the cause to why he missed that. But I think we've kind of done okay so far. I mean, not the best. We've had 2 shots to their 2 shots, created a half chance to their clear-cut chance. Having said that though, maybe they'll punish what I just said, commentator's curse. But yeah, 0-0 so far. Messi's through, and instead he finds Neymar. That's as unselfish as it could get, but again, they've carved us open quite easily, if I could say as well. But Barcelona are being clinical. It's a good day for them to not be clinical, and maybe Milik can be clinical for us today. He gets tackled by Rakitic. Somehow that's not a foul, and instead Neymar is through. So can we win the ball? Apparently not. Ooh, that hit the... Oh, I was just about to celebrate the save. That hit the post. Reina did really well. My players weren't focused, and they didn't, you know, pay attention to Messi, of all people to not pay attention to. But really outnumbered, and this should not be happening tactically at least. And just there you can see Rolam completely lets Messi go. Mertens just trying to run back. It's actually, he's not doing too poorly as a attacking left midfielder to try and drop back once he sees the threat. But there's immediate highlights, so maybe we'll hit back with our own goal, and maybe this Maybe Barcelona's scoring has woken up my squad a little bit, and Mertens has the ball here. He's probably going to take a stupid long-range shot. Yeah, there you go. That's the problem with our shoot-on-sight tactical instruction. Sometimes they score bangers, sometimes they score, sometimes they fly high like that. But still, I'd still say we're doing okay. We're matching them in shots. We're getting carved open really easily. So, had Barcelona been more clinical, then I would be saying we had a poor game. But so far, it's not too bad. It's not as bad as it could have been. But definitely food for thought in terms of creating a counter-attacking tactic, so that way we can deal with the bigger teams. Mertens though finds Milik, and Milik finds Zielinski. Can he finish? Almost squeezed it in through the near post. I thought he would have gone for the far post finish, but that was definitely our first clear-cut chance of the game. And unfortunately, we're not as clinical. We're the same as Barcelona, not clinical at all. And we'll have to do better if we want, some type of result here. I think telling off is the order of the day, even though we're not favourites. But I feel like it doesn't matter if you're favourites. If you're losing, you should always tell your players off. Not sure why Alan's demotivated. Obviously I told him off, but a lot of the time it just gets them fired up. So it's a bit weird that Alan's demotivated. We might have a look at his personality after to see. Actually, just have a look now. There is a highlight coming up though. He's fairly determined, so that's a bit weird. But anyways, chance for us to score. Mertens, really good ball in for Koulibaly, and that is one head of a header that keeps us in this tie. And maybe, just maybe, I might have spoken a bit too soon about creating a counter-attacking tactic. We'll see. But either way, 1-1 is the scoreline, and Barcelona going into attacking 4-3-3 straight away. So we'll have to be careful. What a view this is, and what a header. He's just so well placed. It's not only that he got his head on it, one hell of a cross, of course, but he just placed it so well that even Ter Stegen couldn't react to it, because, he was well set. He just couldn't reach because it was the corner. So what can he do? Nothing a goalkeeper can do there. Looking to make some substitutions. Maybe Allen off for... I forgot it's the... Okay. Let's bring on Diawara. Let's see what happens. I forgot in the I'm so used to the Italian league now, the Serie A, that I forgot you don't get freaking 12 substitutions for 12 players on the bench for the Champions League. So Alan's backup's actually not here, but we'll play Diawara, see how he does in the roaming playmaker role. No real necessary change otherwise. No one's performed poorly. Some quiet games, but sometimes you can have a quiet 60 minutes and then show up in the latter third of the game. So we'll see if anyone can do that, particularly like Milik, for example. I think Hamsik, Zielinski, Callejon, all those players have had decent games, but they can definitely step it up a level a bit, and hopefully they can do that. Anyways, speaking of, Milik's on the ball. He finds Mertens, and that's a really good through ball to Callejon. What's he going to do? Is he going to go solo? He looks like he's going to go solo. No, he finds Hamsik, and that should be a goal, and it is! Through Milik instead, and that's 2-1. And Milik has given us the lead, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Quiet for 60 minutes. 65 specifically, and he manages to score and give us the lead against a very tough Barcelona side. That's 2 clear-cut chances to their 3 now. Half chances at 5, shots equal to them, and shots on target a little bit less, as you'd expect from a team who play with shoot on sight. 2-1 though. I couldn't have asked this game to go any better. Having said that, Barcelona are kicking off right away, and maybe they'll counter and score their own goal. Messi on the ball. Can we shut him down? He finds Suarez very easily, gets past his man. Good tackle initially, but he's still got it. Zielinski to Milik. Are we going to hit them on the counter again? It looks almost like we were going to. Mascherano gets in time there. Mertens almost wins the ball off Vidal, but safely back with Barcelona. Having said that, Hamsik wins it really well. It's just back and forth here. Can Mertens do anything? It's actually a decent cross, but no one really attacked it. That feels like I'm saying tactic. Attacked it. And Barcelona get away with that one, to be honest. I thought Mertens would cut it back a bit. I think his players thought so as well, his teammates. But he didn't, and it was a really good ball, just no one attacked it. Alright then, some other substitutions we make. Zielinski's now tired, who Diawara should have came on for. Unfortunately, no one there for him. Callejon can be taken off for Giaccherini. Mertens is also tired, but we'll keep him on. He's had a good game. And Hamsik, probably we can bring on Rog for him as well. Hamsik by no means has had a poor game, and he's, just like a couple of percentages off being completely tired, but I thought, 17th minute, 20 minutes to go, let's give Rog a chance. He's incredibly good, Rog, at scoring free kicks. I think during my time here, he's scored about 3. And he hasn't had that many starts because Hamsik's always the main starter. So Rog only comes off the bench and he still manages to score 3 free kicks. So obviously not all in the same game. But yeah, I mean, he's shown he's able to be that threat from a free kick, which can turn a draw into a win and, a loss into a draw as well. So it's very crucial. Right now, though, we are winning and it looks like we're doing it. I don't want to curse it, but it looks like we might see this game out quite well against Barcelona. And facing a front three of Suarez, Messi and Neymar and still coming out having conceded just 1 away goal puts us in a really decent position. I'd love a bigger lead, but we have to be realistic, and this is a really good result. If we go to Barcelona and hold out for a 0-0 result, or even outscore their away goals, so if we just get more than 1 away goal, we can suddenly have a really good lead. I just think this performance was top, to be honest. We got carved out a lot by Barcelona. They could have had more, but they didn't, and we made sure that we scored the chances that came our way. 2 clear-cut chances, 2 goals scored. We didn't necessarily score those 2 clear-cut chances, but at least, the 2 numbers match. There you go. 3, well, I was going to say 3 points, but that's just an incredible performance. Brilliantly, definitely to come back and win that. Proud. No one gave us a chance. We weren't favourites at all. And look at those ratings. There's some decent performances from some of our important players in the squad. And yeah, I mean, just a really good game, really good performance. Hopefully we can match it in the away result, in the away leg. I think we will actually be back for that one, in truth, for that fixture. We'll have a look at the schedule, see if there's any other important games in between. But I'd imagine that we would just show you the second leg now that the first leg doesn't, conclude the result, I suppose. There's no real team who's winning here. Barcelona can easily come out and destroy us at their home stadium as well. Anyways, next game is over here. We've got 4 in between, so I think that's a good amount. We've got Lazio and Inter in the league as well. Huge games in the league. So in truth, it's about what do we prioritize? Do I show you another Barcelona game? Or do I show you the Serie A where it can really define our season? I have no clue, to be honest. I don't know. I think I do want to show you the second leg of Barcelona. It's just too big of a game, too interesting as well to see what will happen against Lazio and Inter. I think I would expect my team to draw against both, to be honest. But if we do beat both, then we're back in the Champions League spots, and that way we're just meeting expectations. But against Barcelona, we can exceed expectations. If we beat them, we're in the second knockout round, and suddenly we're doing. I think it's not even called the second knockout round, is it? No, it's called the quarterfinal, sorry. We're in the quarterfinal and suddenly we're doing really well. I've also have the weirdest promise made to Sayed, who Bayern were trying to buy. And he said, I want to move to Bayern because they can win the Champions Cup. And I tried to say a bunch of different things, but it just kind of came down to where I have to promise him that we will win the Champions League, or I risked losing him on the very final day of the transfer window, and definitely can't afford to bring in another. So I thought it's better to have Vilsaid for another 6 months than to not have him at all. Whether we win the Champions League or not, I don't expect us to, but if we win the Champions League, that would be perfect, and that way he'll also stay. But yeah, we're getting too carried away. First, we have to beat Barcelona away from home, and I think that's the result we'll be back for. And yeah, that's kind of it. So I hope you did enjoy today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then of course, please do hit the like button and subscribe for more daily Football Manager 2017 content. And as always, guys, thank you all very, very much for watching.